My name is Hina, and this is the story of the man everyone in our neighborhood respected, the tuition teacher who changed my life. Sir Zayn. People said he was strict. People said he was serious. People said he had no emotions at all, but no one knew the truth. No one knew his dark secret. Except me, I was 16 when my parents forced me to join evening tuition classes. I hated the idea. I hated the pressure. And I especially hated the stories I heard about the teacher. He never smiles. He gives hard homework. He doesn't talk much. When I walked into the tuition center, he was writing something on the board, tall, quiet, sharp-eyed. He didn't even look up when students entered. His voice was calm, but strict. Sit down. Take out your notebooks. I rolled my eyes. Great, another boring teacher. But something strange happened. The moment he started teaching, the whole room fell silent. Not because of fear, but because of the way he taught slow, clear, patient. He explained every line like he wanted every student to succeed. For the first time in my life, I understood math without crying. Still, he looked sad. Every now and then, he paused mid-sentence, stared at the window, then continued teaching. There was something in his eyes, pain, loneliness, something heavy I didn't know what it was, but I felt it. One day after class, I stayed back to ask a question. Sir, I didn't understand this step. Can you explain again? He looked annoyed at first, then softened. He explained it slowly, twice. When I still didn't get it, he sighed. Try again at home, Hina. You will understand. I nodded and left, but I overheard him later talking to someone on the phone. He said, I can't teach like this anymore. I'm tired. I need money, but I can't do it forever. My heart dropped. I misunderstood. I thought he was talking about me. That I was the reason he was tired. That I was the reason he wanted to quit. I felt hurt. I didn't go to tuition for 3 days. On the 4th day, he came to my house. My mother called me downstairs. I stood there, shocked, seeing him at our gate, holding his notebook. He said, Why did you stop coming? You were improving. I couldn't hide my feelings. You said you didn't want to teach anymore because students like me don't understand anything. He looked stunned. I never said that. Then what did you mean? I asked angrily. He took a long breath, then said something that shook me. Hina, the reason I said those words has nothing to do with you, nothing to do with any student. His voice cracked a little, something I had never heard before. I teach because I have no choice. I need money for someone who is sick, very sick. I froze. My anger disappeared instantly. He continued softly. I have a little sister. She is only 8. She has a heart problem. Her medicines cost more than I earn. I work the whole day teaching at the school, and in the evening I teach tuition to keep her alive. His voice broke again. He looked away, trying to hide tears. She doesn't know she is dying, and I don't have the courage to tell her. My heart sank. The pain in his eyes suddenly made sense. The late-night calls, the tired face, the silence during class. It all made sense. I felt guilty, deeply guilty, for misunderstanding him. I'm so sorry, sir, I whispered. He shook his head. No, don't be. You didn't know. Then he added, I don't smile much, because I'm always scared. Scared that one day I won't have enough money for her medicine. For the first time, I saw him not as a strict teacher, but as a struggling brother, a hero, a tired hero. After that day, everything changed. I started going to tuition regularly, but this time I didn't just go to study. I went because I respected him. I watched him closely. He arrived early. He left late. He rarely ate. He worked nonstop, yet he stayed patient with every student. Sometimes during class, his phone buzzed. He checked it secretly, worry growing in his eyes each time. Once, I heard him whisper, "Don't worry, little one. I'll buy it tomorrow." He meant medicine. I knew he did. His pain became my motivation. I studied harder than before. I wanted to give him something to smile about. One afternoon, I brought him tea. He looked surprised. "This is for me?" "Yes, sir. You look tired." He hesitated, then finally smiled, a small, broken smile. "Thank you, Hina." It was the first time I had seen him smile, and it felt special. One evening, he didn't come to class. We waited for him 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour. He never missed class, not even once. Students left one by one, but I stayed. My heart felt restless. After 2 hours, my phone buzzed. It was a message from his number. "Class canceled. Sorry." Just those words. Nothing else. I knew something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Without thinking, I rushed to his house. His door was half open. I stepped inside nervously. He was sitting on the floor, crying, holding his sister in his arms. She had fainted. She was struggling to breathe. "Hina, she's getting worse," he whispered. "I don't have enough money for the injection." His hands were shaking, his face pale, fear everywhere. I knelt beside him. "Sir, take her to the hospital. I will help." He looked at me, eyes filled with disbelief. "You? But how?" "Just go," I shouted. We rushed to the hospital. The doctor took the little girl inside immediately. Hours passed, like minutes. Minutes felt like years. Finally, the doctor came out. "She is stable, but she needs better treatment regularly, or next time, she might not survive." Sir Zayan closed his eyes in pain. "I don't have money for that," he whispered. The doctor placed a hand on his shoulder. "I'm sorry." When the doctor left, he sat on a chair, defeated. "I'm failing her, Hina. I'm failing my own sister." I couldn't hold back my tears. "You are not failing her, sir. You're fighting for her." He shook his head. "But I can't do it anymore. I'm tired." I placed my hand on his. "Sir, you have helped so many students. Let us help you now." He looked at me, surprised, emotional, hopeful. The next day, I told every student in tuition about his sister. I told their parents. I told neighbors. Everyone joined in. Some gave money. Some brought food. Some offered medicine. People who once feared him now stood beside him. When we reached his house, he looked shocked. "What is all this?" I smiled. "Respect coming back to you, sir." For the first time, tears of gratitude filled his eyes. He covered his face with his hands and cried silently. You saved her, Hina. All of you saved her." "No, sir," I said softly. "You saved her long before us. We only continued what you started." Weeks passed. His sister began recovering slowly. His face looked brighter. His smile became real. He laughed more. He taught with more energy. One day after class, he said, "Hina, can I tell you the real secret?" I looked at him curiously. "Real secret?" He nodded. "The dark secret isn't that my sister was sick." He paused. "The real secret is that I was ashamed. ashamed of my poverty, ashamed that I couldn't give her a better life, ashamed that people would think I'm weak. He looked down. But you proved me wrong. I shook my head. Sir, strength isn't about hiding pain. Strength is about fighting it, and you fought every day. He smiled softly. A teacher's biggest success is not in teaching lessons, but in inspiring hearts, and you inspired mine. My eyes filled with tears. You inspired mine first, sir? Every person carries a story, sometimes a painful one, hidden behind silence, seriousness, or strictness. Never judge someone without knowing their journey. The strict teacher you fear might be the broken brother fighting for someone he loves. The quiet person you misunderstand might be the strongest warrior you'll ever meet. And sometimes, the darkest secrets are not about mistakes, but about silent sacrifices.